have. It's the only video source we have, and that means it is a single point of failure. If the phone gets dropped, or if it just malfunctions or whatever, we're offline. Okay, that's not good. I looked into a few older alternatives, depending on prices and versus quality. Now, there are things called webcams, but majority of the webcams on the market are USB based for 2.0. My Macs only have USB 1.1. Now, before some wise ass raises his hand and says, I know, why don't you get a new USB 2.0 card? Let's make sure we understand what we're dealing with here, okay? We're talking about two Macs that have no PCI slots at all. And the third Mac has PCI slots, but it only runs at 300 megahertz, okay? Which means that no matter what, if you put a USB 2.0 card in that, it's probably not going to be able to keep up with the frame rates. Okay, that's one reason I don't think the USB 2.0 choice is a good one. Second one is the quality. I have used webcams in the past, and I have been very unimpressed with the quality of these things. First, let's go through the reasons why I don't like them. One, they do not, and for the most part, do not have tripod 1/4 inch 36 or 32 threads to the inch. Okay, in other words, you can't screw it into a standard tripod. Second of all, they don't have interchangeable lenses. Third of all is the resolutions for many of them is pretty lousy, and those are the three things that I find most disturbing. I was an amateur photographer long before I got into videos, and I always made my best effort to produce the best results I could given the resources I have at hand. So therefore, looking at the equipment that's out there, it was just easier to just pick up a security camera. I know what you're going to say, security camera? Why a security camera? Well, some of the security cameras, such as the black and white example that comes to mind, is a Panasonic WV-BP314. In this case, it's a high-resolution monochrome camera. I'm just going to use this as an example. I like black and white anyway, so it would be something I'd consider. The daytime resolution of this camera is pretty respectable for its vintage era. It's about 500 TV video lines. Don't ask me why they call them that. If you ask me, I really think they should call it TV vertical lines instead of vertical video lines, because it gets kind of confusing. Okay. Second of all, it offers a very low light option. I mean, that's something we'd probably be using much, but at least we'd have the option in case we want to shoot outside an existing light. And third of all, it also has interchangeable lenses, which gives you the ability to put any kind of lens on. You can even install a zoom, optical zoom lens, and sometimes known in the industry is varifocal lenses. You can even choose automatic or manual iris. I like the manual iris because I like to have aperture priority. To me, that's important. And when I was working with film, my cases, I would like to keep the f-stops in the camera down, usually pretty small, so I had a pretty good depth of field. I would like to do the same thing for this camera. Some of the cameras even allow you to lock the shutter speed or the perceived shutter speed at a particular rate, and where you can actually have full control of both the aperture and the shutter speed on these cameras. Now, that sounds great. But what about viewfinder? Well, there's a couple choices for that. I mean, you can buy one of those small LCD TV rear view backup camera monitors. They're about 4.3 inches diagonal. Pretty puny. But for this, they're perfect. Because all you need is just a little screen that you can mount on top of the camera. Remember, most cameras, this one does, has a 1/4 30-second thread on the top and the bottom, so you just mount it to the top of the camera while the camera's mounted on the tripod. And that's the other thing. Like this camera, it will mount on a tripod, which makes things a lot easier. Second of all, it does not necessarily feature built-in sound. Some do have that as an option, where you can have the audio on your camera, as well as if you have external microphones and things. We did buy a replacement microphone for the studio, which came in, and that was I needed to modify it a bit when I got it, but I won't go into details here with it. Let's just say it's working now. If you had a series of microphones for the studio and you wanted to be able to, if we had a microphone in the camera, maybe you could have the ambiance, the studio background, and you could mix that in with the sound from the anchor people, and that would give you better quality too. So if the microphone, the anchor person malfunctions, at least they'll still be able to hear the anchor person. That's what I'm looking into. So now the cameras I chose. Let's go through this and why. Okay. As I said, I like pictures to be as best resolution as I can, but I do have a limited budget. The first camera I chose, now these are the model numbers. Let's see if I got them right. Please bear with me here. The Panasonic WV CP 334 is a 480 television vertical line camera. It has a fairly good light lux sensitivity. It's not great, but it's not bad. I mean, it's a used camera. It uses 24 volts DC, or AC, which kind of sucks because that means that it won't be really portable. But for studio work, it probably would be more than fine. And it comes with a lens, and it's going for about $29 and $9 shipping, so it's really not bad. Obviously, limitations of what it is that it's older, it's not a newer camera, and the resolution just isn't really there. So maybe you want to go for the 600 TVL, such as the Sony, which is the D-WDR EFIO camera body, and then buy an external varifocal lens with adjustable manual iris and focus controls to give maximum flexibility. That's going to cost you more money because that's DC, which is great because it can power up our power packs for lights and everything else. But unfortunately, it is $58 plus you need the cable, and then you need, on top of the cable, you need what else? Cable and power supply. And so let's just say the cable is it says $68. The lens, that's another $10. So you add 58 to 10, that's 68. Then the cable that's about $70. Oh, that's for the 700 TVL, but okay, it's pretty close. There's like $10 difference between the two. But the point is that even that might be a little bit too pricey right now. So we're not going to really have a choice as far as which ones to use, except I want to try to keep the budget low. So I would say within the next few months, we probably will be picking up the Panasonic 34 camera because it's the least expensive to get started with. It's going to suck, but, you know. Oh, yes, by the way, the last piece of equipment that we already bought is a Firewire Formac, that's the name of the company, FORMAC, FS10 Studio, digital or analog to digital converter and digital analog converter box. It plugs into Firewire. That was important, and the results are very nice with it. It's a very beautiful picture, and it's very crisp, it's very clean. Given the fact is that it has, you know, some limitations, but it's more than good enough for what we're doing here to start with, and maybe later on we'll upgrade to newer technology. That's it. That's all I was going to say for now, and I got to get these up. So I'll talk to you soon. Have a nice day. Okay? Bye-bye.